I've been travelling since I was a little girl. I've been to 6 continents, nearly 80 countries and some 18 states across India, but I am still so excited to travel. There's always something new to do, new people to chat to, different things to try. I'm currently in the southeast Indian state of Tamil Nadu. It's a place from where dynasties ruled across Southeast Asia. A place where the influence of the art and the architecture can be seen across the subcontinent, and also where the food, the idli, the dosa, are famous worldwide. I'm currently on the shore of the Bay of Bengal, and I'm spending the next 30 days here. I can't wait to explore. I'm your host, Alex Southwaite. Come and travel with me in the beautiful state of Tamil Nadu. I'm a few kilometres outside of Chennai, the capital of Tamil Nadu. Now, this is formerly a British colony, and they actually used it as the administrative capital of the southern part of India. But it's actually been a place that travellers over the years have always chosen to stop, from creatives, artists, poets, to international philosophers and Indian philosophers like Vivekananda. It's also a place known for its Gothic architecture and its historic temples, and I'm so excited to start exploring. This is Marina Beach, one of the defining sites here in Chennai. At 12 kilometres long, it is the longest beach in India and the second longest urban beach in the whole world. Now, it might look fairly quiet right now, but in the evening it comes alive with hundreds of market traders and vendors, and this is the place to come in the city for your street food. It's morning right now, but I really hope I get the chance later in the week to come back on an evening and check it out for myself. I've come now to one of the most famous sites in Chennai. Next to Marina Beach, this is Vivekananda House and Cultural Centre, named after Swami Vivekananda. He was, of course, an internationally recognised Indian philosopher, saint and monk. He's generally credited with bringing Hindu philosophy to the global stage, as well as introducing the West to yoga. But he's particularly well known for his great speeches about the importance of interfaith relationships. And although these speeches took place over 100 years ago, they're just as important today as they were then. So for me, I couldn't come to Chennai without visiting this place. He was born in Calcutta in 1863 and died in 1902, which means he was only 35 when he passed away. But even in his relatively short life, his sayings and his knowledge became popular all over the world. Now, he came here to Chennai in 1897 and stayed at the house, which was then named after him, of course. This fantastic saying above the statue, knowledge leads to immortality, and I believe with his teachings he has indeed become immortal. The building's originally from 1842, when Frederick Tudor, who was an ice merchant from the USA, used to use it to store ice. And there is a nod to that below. You can see some of the ice blocks. But then in 1897, it became Vivekananda's house, and now a gallery and museum. And all over the walls are adorned with illustrations that show Hindu philosophy and his teachings on spiritual well-being. There's an old English phrase which is a doubting Thomas, and this refers to somebody who's a skeptic or a non-believer. And this actually comes from Thomas the Apostle, who was one of Jesus' 12 disciples, and he initially didn't believe that Jesus had been resurrected. This is the Cathedral of St. Tom, or Basilica of St. Thomas, and it was originally built in 1523 by the Portuguese, but then it was redesigned in the end of the 19th century by the British in neo-Gothic style, which was particularly popular with British architects at the time. There are only 3 churches worldwide which are built on the tombs of the apostles. One is in Italy, one is in Spain, and one here in Chennai. So it's believed that St. Thomas came to India via Kerala in AD 52, and when he died in AD 72, then his disciples built a small church on this site. And it does actually sound like there's a service going on at the moment, so I'm going to go and join in. I managed to catch some of the service. It's a lovely church, actually, quite simple, but there are some beautiful stained glass windows there, and one in particular caught my eye just above the altar. This actually depicts St. Thomas when he finally believed that Jesus had been resurrected, as he was able to see and touch the crucifixion wounds. And it's been really interesting for me coming to not only a church, but also a temple, because it really shows how Chennai as a city is very multi-denominational. I'm on my way to Kapaleeshwarar Temple, and I'm travelling on one of my favourite modes of transport, an Indian auto or tuk-tuk, and I love the natural air conditioning which I need on a hot day like this. Hello. Are you originally from Chennai?
Yeah, I born about everything in Chennai.
What makes Chennai such a cool place then? What makes it special?
There's a lot of places to have a look, lot of places here. And Kapaleeshwarar Temple, Ramanathaswamy Temple, the world's second largest beach in Marina.
This place is good for street food, right? People come in the evening to eat food here?
Yeah, a lot of people used to come over here, they make a time pass here, right? There's a lot of couples coming here.
Couples?
Yeah, couples coming in there and make a time pass and sit and get a relaxation here.
I'm just on my own today, unfortunately.
Okay. Would you need to come up, have a look and come up evening, you can see all the good things for you, right?
Come to Malapur in the heart of Chennai, and this is the amazing Kapaleeshwarar Temple, which was originally built in the 7th century on the site where the current St. Home Church stands. But when the Portuguese destroyed it in 1566, it was rebuilt here in typical Dravidian style, one of the few temples in the city in this style. And this temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva and Parvati. The inner sanctum of the temple is from the 16th century, but the 2 gopurams are from 1906. And the tallest, just over there, is nearly 37 meters high. When you enter through the gopuram, there is a shrine to Lord Ganesha, like there are in all Hindu temples. There's actually a really interesting legend here, which is that the goddess Uma used to worship Shiva in peacock form, so there are a number of peacock sculptures all around the temple. Kapaleeshwarar is a very significant temple and people travel from all over to come and worship here. There are 6 main pujas or services during the day, but there's always a steady stream of people coming in to worship. It's clearly been significant, Mylapore as a place, for a really long time. In 90 AD, there are texts from a Greek philosopher who visited here, and it's also believed in the 2nd century AD that one of Jesus' apostles, St. Thomas, also visited here. Now, inside this courtyard, there are 9 smaller shrines or temples, and just outside there is a holy pool, which in my experience is a common theme, a common thing at Hindu temples. Tamil Nadu is a thriving destination for the arts, and I'm actually on my way to one of the premier arts and cultural academy in the state, if not in the whole country. And this is the Kalakshetra Foundation, and here young people from all over India and even abroad come and study music and dancing and other creative arts. Many of them go on to be teachers and even in the movies as well. And I'm going to be learning about Bharatanatyam, which is a classical form of dance here. The Kalakshetra Foundation is one of the premier schools teaching Bharatanatyam, a form of Indian classical dance. And what an absolutely magnificent place for a class. The sound of the music, the sound of the feet underneath the banyan tree, absolutely magical. This is a statue of Rukmini Devi, the founder of the Kalakshetra Foundation, and she dedicated her whole life to protecting the local arts here in Tamil Nadu. Now I can hear a sound just behind me, which I believe is a rehearsal of Bharatanatyam, which is a form of storytelling dance. And this particular story was choreographed by the founder, and it depicts a local deity. Now the students here study for up to 6 years, and at the moment they're preparing for a December festival, so I think I'll go and have a little watch. I've come 60 kilometers south of Chennai to Mahabalipuram, and this is a place famed for its 40 shrines and monuments that make up the Shore Temple on the Bay of Bengal. It's built in the 7th and 8th century and ruled over by the Pallavas, but actually this has been a significant place for nearly 2,000 years. It was mentioned in a number of texts by geographers from the 1st and 2nd century, and a notable one of these was Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, and this is a book in ancient Greek that details the trade and port opportunities around the world. The fact that the Shore Temple behind me stands on the Bay of Bengal, right next to the coastline, to me makes it even more beautiful. Marco Polo, when he was travelling from Southeast Asia back to Venice, stopped in India, and he referred to the 7 pagodas, and this was a name that became associated with this place. It was also mentioned again in the 13th century in a Catalan atlas, and they called it Sant Thome, presumably referring to Thomas the Apostle, who was buried in nearby Chennai. It's a temple made out of stone granite, and it's one of the oldest stone temples in the south of India, and it was awarded UNESCO World Heritage status in 1984. The temple's built in a pyramid structure, and it's also designed to face east, the idea being that the sun rays shine in on the shrines of Shiva, Parvati and Vishnu. There's also a number of bull statues around the temple, which is normal for a Shiva temple, and just to the right of me there's a pool which would originally have been a sacred pond. The Pallavas were known for their art and architecture, as well as for experimenting with different styles, and the Shore Temple is one of the best preserved examples of early Dravidian style in a structural style of building, and this means that stones and mortar were brought here specifically for the purpose of building the temple. But actually the influence of the Pallavas can be seen right across Asia, including in things like various scripts, such as the Khmer script from Cambodia. In my experience, a lot of places in India are named after deities or characters from Indian legends, and that's the same as Mahabalipuram. Legend has it that Prahlada, who was the son of a king here, was actually ousted for his dedication to Vishnu. He was eventually welcomed back into the kingdom, became king, and had a son called Bali, who founded this place. Whatever the legend, the seashore temple that I've just come from historically has been guiding sailors and travellers into the shore for centuries. There's definitely a lot of history here. I've come to one of the most recognisable sites in Tamil Nadu, which is the 5 Rathas or Pant Rathas. And this is an example of monolithic rock-cut architecture. Now, Ratha means chariot, and this is referring to the chariots of the brothers or Pandavas from the epic story Mahabharata. And as with most epic stories, Mahabharata does have a teaching, and it teaches us to not be power-hungry, not to be lustful, and not to be greedy. The Rathas were built in the 7th century in Dravidian style, and actually this style of architecture went on to be a template for other temples in the area. And this is the Dharmaraja Ratha, which is the tallest of all of the Rathas, and it's dedicated to Lord Shiva. So there's sculptures of Shiva and Brahma, as well as the king from the 7th century. With all of the Rathas named after the individual brothers, this is the Bhima Ratha, which is built out of pink granite and dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Now, it's built in a north to south style, and it's a little bit reminiscent of Buddhist cave architecture, and the top is designed to look like a boat. Now, this is often mistakenly referred to as a temple, but actually, as it was technically never finished, it was also never consecrated. The northernmost of the Rathas is called the Draupadi Ratha, and this is named after Draupadi, who was the common female consort of the brothers and also the female protagonist from the epic story. And Draupadi is known for her beauty, her courage, and also her chastity. She's actually worshipped as a goddess by many, and she has inspired much in the way of performances, art, and even literature. The Arjuna Ratha, which is very similar to the Dhammaraja Ratha, except it has one less tier on the top. The Arjuna Ratha is flanked by numbers of statues of animals. We have a lion, an elephant, and a bull on that side, but actually the orientation of those statues indicate that this was not dedicated to Lord Shiva, but it is actually unknown who this Ratha was dedicated to. This is the Nakul Sahadev, named after the final two brothers, and it stands alone from the other Rathas. And if you follow me to this side, there's a very interesting architectural style there. From the entrance side, it actually looks like the backside of an elephant. And over here, it is flanked by a sculpture of an elephant. For anyone interested in history, the Mahabalipuram is an incredible place to come and visit the various temples, as well as a place to come and learn about how the architectural styles have changed over the centuries. I've come to the beautiful tiger caves constructed by the Pallavas in the 8th century, and this is a Hindu rock-cut temple, which means that this was constructed out of one single piece of rock. And of course it is named for the various animal forms and heads carved around the outside of the cave. Now, the Tiger Caves could have been a place where the Pallava kings came to address their audience. And the central chamber would have been where the king was, with the audience and courtiers in front. And this could also have been a place where festivals and performances were also held. Now, of course, it is called the Tiger Caves, presumably because of the heads carved around the outside of this central cave. However, it's actually believed that these are not tigers. They are, in fact, yali. And a yali is a Hindu mythological creature which is believed to be a guardian and particularly a protector of humans from the forces of nature. And this is possibly particularly relevant due to the location of the caves next to the water. As with all Hindu temples, the carvings do actually tell a story, and here we can see that the temple is dedicated to the goddess Durga, who is known for riding on the back of a tiger. Now, it might be that over the next few years we actually discover a lot more about the history of the area, as at a nearby Shiva temple some inscriptions were found on a rock from an ancient Tamil language. And although we don't know what it says at the moment, the Department of Epigraphy are currently working on it, and who knows what they might discover. Just a couple of 100 metres away from the Tiger Cave is the temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, where the inscriptions in ancient Tamil were discovered. And then just in front of it is a standalone sculpture in bas-relief style. And this means it's a piece of art where the rock is carved into to make the picture appear 3D. And here you can see the goddess Durga on board the Yali and fighting against the evil forces of Mahisasura. As I've come to Varadharaja Perumal Temple, which is dedicated to Lord Vishnu, and although there are probably some 100 temples in the region, this is actually considered one of the most beautiful, so much so that the 100-pillar hall just to the right of me, some of the sculptures there actually adorn the bottoms of the beautiful saris made in the area. Now, unfortunately, cameras are not allowed in here, so I'm going to go and pray myself and then head back to Mahabalipuram. It's a very tranquil place. Inside there's some beautiful paintings, and I've now come to the sacred pond, and in the middle there's a statue of Lord Vishnu, and you'd think, as it's made out of wood, that this would rot, but it's actually made out of fig tree. This is a very special type of wood that doesn't rot at all. And it's brought out every 40 years for worship, with the next festival being held in 2059. People quite often ask me how I stay fit when I travel, and it is very important to me. Generally, I say I like to do everything in moderation because I don't like to miss out on anything. But if the hotel or hostel that I'm staying at offer a gym or some kind of fitness class, I always want to take part. And of course, when offered a yoga by the beach session in the home of yoga, I obviously had to join in. I've come to the Madras Crocodile Bank, one of the leading centres for research in herpetology in the country. Now, it was founded in 1976 with the purpose of protecting a number of critically endangered species, particularly the mugger and the gharial. Now, the gharial has been critically endangered since 2008, which means that there has been a reduction of nearly 90% of the number of animals in the wild. Threats to the gharial include poaching for the skin and also habitat reduction, but the Trust has been credited with bringing the number of gharials up from just a few hundred to nearly 1,000. And they did previously have much more of a focus on reintroduction, but unfortunately this habitat reduction means that the gharials are not able to lay their eggs due to sand mining. So for now, the focus is more on the captive breeding side. One of the main focuses of the Madras Crocodile Bank is actually education. They have a lot of visits from schools and colleges who come here for educational purposes. And at the moment, they're watching one of the crocodile feedings. They also have 2 field stations, and the purpose of the field station is, first of all, research. They keep an eye on the population of the different species, as well as their reintroduction programs. They also have a big focus on educating the local communities, as there's a lot of disinformation in some communities about crocodiles and snakes as well. And one of the purposes of these stations is to educate local people of the dangers of snake bites and also how to treat it with antivenom. I've come 50 kilometres away from Mahabalipuram to a place called Kanchipuram, which is famed for its beautiful saris. Now, of course, saris are produced all over India, and each state has its own style and technique. But the saris in Kanchipuram are famed for their beauty and their high quality. They are made with mulberry silk, which is entwined with gold and used on special occasions and weddings. They've also had quite a few famous customers come here due to the high quality, including Queen Elizabeth II. You know, I'm not normally one for shopping, but this is absolute heaven. Every single colour, pattern, style you can imagine, including hand-woven beautiful pictures onto the saris here. And the colours are made using the water of the nearby river, the Pala, which means that these beautiful colours don't fade. It's absolutely no surprise that people come from all over the world to buy their saris here. I'm spending the next few days in Thanjavur, one of the cultural hubs of Tamil Nadu. Now, it's home to a number of temples that have UNESCO World Heritage Site status, known as the Great Living Chola Temples, including Thanjavur Big Temple, which is one of the largest Hindu temples in India. It's also a place famed for the historic Thanjavur paintings, as well as the classic dance form Bharatanatyam and a number of handmade classical instruments. Thanjavur was the capital of the Chola dynasty, and the temple here was built in only 7 years by King Rajararaja I, a Chola king, between 1003 and 1010. Now, there are 3 main gates, and the gate behind me is 30 metres tall with a 40-foot door. And above the door, there are statues of the deities Shiva, Parvati, Brahma, and Durga. And it's mainly made of granite, as is much of the temple. And this was pulled by elephants on wooden rollers from over 70 kilometres away. The inner courtyard is huge, with the whole temple complex area taking up 35 acres. Now, there are 250 shivlings or Shiva phallus symbols behind the pillars, as well as a series of Nandi statues around the top of the walls, and it's also home to the second largest Nandi statue or bull statue in India. And this would also have been a place of performance, with the plinth to my right being where Bharatanatyam would have been performed, and the plinth just in front of me where the king would have sat. I've just come from inside the temple, and actually the whole temple complex is dedicated to the Shiva family. So as well as the Shivling on the inside of the inner sanctum, there's also a dedicated shrine for Parvati, one for Ganesh and one for Kartika as well. Now pilgrims would have travelled all over to come here, and they would have stayed just to the right of me behind these pillars. And actually the main inner sanctum is 63 metres high, and it's rumoured that the ball on the top weighs over 81 tonnes as carved from one piece of stone. Now the tiers would have been built one by one, with a tier built before being covered in mud, and then the next one. And the ramps leading up to these tiers would have been over 1 kilometre long. There's a tradition of bringing sweets as offerings to the gods. I've got some here called Chandra Kala, which is a traditional sweet of Thanjavur. Wow. That is so sweet. I've got a very big sweet tooth, to be honest, but even I don't think I'd be able to finish all of these, which makes a change. Now, the temple was built by the Cholas, but also the Nayaks and Marathas also contributed over the centuries. And after I've had a few more of these, then I'm going to be heading to Thanjavur Palace, which is where the current royal family of the city live, who are part of the Maratha dynasty. I've come to Thanjavur Palace, built in 1550 by the Nayaks and later on the official residence of the Marathas. And even when the British came and annexed the kingdom of Thanjavur, then the Marathas still held sway over the fort and the palace. It's still the official residence of the Bhosle family, the descendants of the Marathas. It's a very impressive complex. It includes the Darbar Hall, one of the oldest libraries in Asia, and a beautiful temple. Outside, the Darbar Hall looks quite simple, but inside it's absolutely spectacular. This would be where the royal court would meet, with the king on the plinth over there and his citizens in front of him. And actually the elaborate decoration is reminiscent of the Thanjavur paintings, and 3D designs depicting stories of gods and goddesses, and the numerous colours. Absolutely beautiful. Thanjavur is a hugely important hub of arts and culture in Tamil Nadu, and many different styles of painting and music originated here. Now, Thanjavur painting is an incredibly intricate style of painting that uses cut glass, semi-precious stones and gold leaf to create these beautiful designs. They quite often depict gods and goddesses, Lakshmi, Krishna, many others, as well as animals, birds, flowers. And I'm currently in the palace, and some of the designs here will go on to be in temples as well as the homes of collectors and worshippers. It's a very different painting style to that of the West, and there are a number of different stages as well. Starts off with one of these wooden boards, which is treated with some herbal remedies, including tamarind seed. At that point, the design is sketched out, and then they use a mixture of chalk water and Arabic gum to create these textured 3D designs. At that point, they start to add the semi-precious stones, and then they move on to the gold leaf. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful how it catches the light. Only then do they start the painting, like these ones. Just lovely. So obviously a very lengthy and skilled style, which is reflected in the price. For example, this one here of Lord Balaji, which is just amazing and nearly as tall as me as well. This would sell for over $2,500. This is the Sarasvati Mahal Library, one of the oldest libraries in Asia. It was built in the 1600s for the educational enrichment of the Thanjavur kings. It's home to some incredibly rare books. There are books here written in old Tamil languages, Sanskrit and other Indian and indigenous languages. There's even some ancient palm manuscripts as well. And particularly interesting to me as a traveller, they've even got some really historic maps. Now, they have around 49,000 books here, but only a fraction of them are on display to the public. Books and manuscripts were actually collected by the kings on their various travels and pilgrimages. Now, the library was started by the Nayaks, but then when the Marathas actually captured the city, they continued the development of the library as they too wanted to emphasize the arts and culture of the area. Now, one of the most notable kings of the Marathas was King Saffaji, and he was a patron of various arts. He also had a tutor who was German, and he went on personally to learn English, French, Italian, and Latin, and there are a number of books here from the 1700s in a variety of languages. The kings were obviously keen travellers. There are things from all over the world here. It's a very international library. But there's also some absolutely fantastic examples of local Tamil work here, written on copper, and noticeably, we've got some palm leaf manuscripts here as well, including the smallest examples of paper palm leaf manuscripts. And this is actually examples of astrological charts, which is a key thing in Tamil culture. There's an ancient Sanskrit word, Veena, which refers to a stringed instrument that can be plucked. And it's a particularly sacred instrument because the goddess of knowledge, you can see her depicted just behind me, and she's usually shown carrying a veena or a lute. And I've come now to visit a family who are renowned for making some of the finest veena in the country. And the gentleman here, his family have been making them for 3 generations. How long does it take to make one veena?
25 days. The one veena making the finished 25 days.
25 days.
25 days.
Always by hand.
Yeah.
And what type of wood is it from?
This wood jackfruit.
What makes the Thanjavur veena different, special?
Different 2 types joint veena, joint veena, ordinary veena, carving veena. Single piece yagandam, joint ordinary veena, light carving, and deep carving full deep. Wonderful. This one type. So many.
And do you know how to play?
No play.
No?
My son only played it.
Oh, does he? Can he play for us now?
Okay. Arya.
Hello.
Good evening.
I heard you're going to do a demonstration for us. How many years have you been learning? 3 years. Where did you learn?
Teacher.
From a teacher at school?
Yes.
Very nice, very good. He's very clever, very clever. Thank you so much for the demonstration and showing me how to make them.
Okay.
Wonderful. This has been a lovely experience for me. I've seen the Veena around, and to be able to come and experience it being made and played, a very beautiful place. Ooty is a hill station known as the Queen of the Hill Stations, and it was originally a Toda settlement and then became under the rule of the British East India Company from the early 1800s onwards. Ooty is in amongst the Nilgiri Hills, the Blue Mountains, and it's a place famous for the UNESCO World Heritage toy train and for cultivating the land and growing a lot of different fruits and vegetables, as well as the production of chocolate. But actually, perhaps it is most famous for its tea, so I thought it would make sense for me to come and visit a plantation and then do a tea tasting. Driving through the Nilgiri Hills, you are treated to views of the beautiful tiered tea plantations on either side. Now, this area gets 60 to 90 inches of rainfall every year, which makes it ideal for tea cultivation. Now, the first seeds were planted by the British in 1835, with the first commercial plantations started in 1859, and now Nilgiri tea is famous internationally, and actually this area has some of the highest tea plantations in the world. Now, I've got 3 different teas to try. I've got a green tea, a ginger tea, and a masala tea. It's incredibly smooth, very aromatic. I'm normally somebody that would probably have milk with my tea, but teas like this, you definitely don't need that. But it's so flavoursome. And actually it tastes really naturally sweet, even without the addition of sugar. Now, Nilgiri tea is often used for iced tea, as when it cools, it doesn't become cloudy. I find that no day in India is complete without at least 1 or 2 stops for chai. So it only seems fitting that I start my time in Ooty by coming to visit the plantations and trying a few flavours for myself. Beautiful avalanche lake surrounded by the rolling hills, the tea plantations and the forest areas. It's 28 kilometres away from Ooty. Now, it is called Avalanche Lake, but it should perhaps be called Landslide Lake, as it was formed by a landslide in the 1800s. Now, today is a glorious day, blue skies up above, but it does normally get a lot of rainfall here, and in fact in August 2019, in one day, it got 92.1 centimetres of rain, which was the highest out of anywhere in South India. I've really enjoyed coming down to the lake. Away from the sounds of the beeping horns, you're actually treated to a different type of sound. The flowing water, the sound of the birds, and even the smells are different here. The smells of the flowers and the pine trees, it's really lovely. And this whole area is actually looked after by the Forest Department, and they're doing a really great job. It's very clean, it's very peaceful, and we should all make sure that we are responsible travellers and keep it that way. been walking along the edge of the Pykara River, and it has a number of different waterfalls, but the final two are 55 and 61 metres high, are called the Pykara Falls, which are absolutely spectacular. Now, the Pykara River is considered sacred by the Toda people, which is an ethnic group who live in this area of Tamil Nadu. But it's clearly a very popular spot with tourists as well. There's a lot of people here today taking photos, enjoying themselves, and it's easy to see why, because this is a true natural wonder. It might not be the highest waterfall I've been to, but the width of the river here, the sheer number of the pretty cascades on both sides of me just looks so lovely. And actually nature has kind of been left up to its own devices here. Obviously tourists can come and visit, but we are kept on the side, so nature can just do its thing. And it just means that it's actually a haven for bird watchers. There are sparrows nesting in the cliffs just opposite me and eagles flying overhead, and loads of different flowers all around. It's a really lovely place. So just about to come past is the Ooty toy train of the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, established in 1908 by the British as a way to transport people to the hill station of Ooty. It is 46 kilometres long. Hi guys, hello! With 13 different stations. Hello! It's actually the only rack railway in the whole of India. And in 2005, it was given UNESCO World Heritage Site status, alongside 5 railways in total that make up the mountain railways of India. You know, for a lot of people, seeing the toy train go past is a highlight of their time in Ooty, and I absolutely love that.
I'm nearing the end of my time in Tamil Nadu, but I still have one more destination left to explore. I'm currently at Arichal Munai on the island of Rameshwaram. It is viewed as the end point of India, and it's here where the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal meet. Rameshwaram is a temple town, and it's viewed as being particularly auspicious to Hindus, as it's believed that here is where Lord Rama built his bridge over to Sri Lanka.
Until about 4 or 5 years ago, this road didn't exist at all, so the only way to access this area is if you had a 4x4. And now it's a very popular tourist spot, as you can see. At the end is the emblem of India, and from an aerial view, this actually looks like a shivling, which is a symbol of Lord Shiva. Now, I've never been to Sri Lanka, so this means that at only 18 kilometres away from this point, it's the closest I've ever been to a new country. Walking in the remains of Danaskuri village, which was previously a thriving community with over 50 families living here, but unfortunately it was destroyed in a tsunami in 1964. Just behind me is the remains of the church, which was made out of coral. And now it is starting to develop a little bit again, and in front of the church there are numerous stalls from local artisans selling jewellery and artwork made from coral and conch shell and even pearls. There are some really nice stalls here actually. They've used shells in very inventive ways. These door hangings, lots of different bits of jewellery. This is all pearl as well, which is very pretty. Endless types of necklaces and hair pieces. And over there is the conch, which I know from my English classes and Lord of the Flies. They used to blow as a horn to call attention to the group. And also in India, they use it at the beginning of a puja. Can I try? I haven't actually done this before, so let's see. This end?
So, side. So, vibrating. Yes, no.
Did you believe that was me? I don't know what mine would be calling attention to. Thank you. It's very pretty. Hello! Hi! There's something about trains going past that makes me want to wave like a child. This is the Pambam Bridge, connecting Rameshwaram with the rest of India, and it was built in 1914, making it India's first sea bridge, and it's 2.06 kilometers long, which means that it actually was the longest sea bridge in India as well until the Worli Sea Link was built. And until 1988, this was the only thing connecting Rameshwaram with the mainland. And the idea was that it was going to increase trade with what used to be Ceylon, now Sri Lanka. I mean, it still looks like it's very busy, to be honest. This train looks pretty much full. Hello! Trains in the UK, the doors are very much shut and locked. And one of my favourite things about travelling by train in India, I know you're probably not meant to do this, but I do like to go to the doorways and watch the world go by. It feels very historic. What an absolutely spectacular view from up here. Of course, one of the main reasons that people visit to Rameshwaram is to visit the beautiful Rameshwaram Temple just behind me, also known as Ramanathaswamy Temple. Now, this is one of the most auspicious places in India for Hindus, and it's one of the 12 Jyotirlings, temples dedicated to Lord Shiva, where Hindus make a pilgrimage. Now, the structure you can see just behind me was built in the 17th century, but a lot of the temple was actually built in the 12th and 13th century, and it's been a pilgrimage place for over 1,000 years. I really can't wait to go inside. Obviously, it's not compulsory to wear a sari, but I have been receiving quite a lot of nice, appreciative smiles and nods since I've made the effort. And this is actually the sari that I bought in Chettinad. I love the colour, and I was told that this type of cotton is very light and airy, which is true. Now, there are 4 different gopurams, and this is the east entrance where I'll be heading. This part of the temple was built in 1854 by the then ruling royal family of Rameshwaram. And the main deity of the temple is Ramanathaswamy, which is another name for Lord Shiva in the form of a lingam. And there are two lingams inside the inner sanctum of the temple, one of which is believed to have been made by Lord Rama out of sand. This corridor is so impressive, it almost looks like some kind of optical illusion. It took over 30 years to build, between 1740 and 1770. And actually, in most ancient South Indian temples, they have either 100 or 1,000 columns or pillars. And this one has 1,212, meaning that it's got the most columns or pillars out of any temple in the whole of Asia. Now this is repainted every 12 years. Previously it used natural paints, and now it uses artificial paints. It just looks absolutely beautiful. Obviously there are a lot of similarities between the historic South Indian temples, but they do all have quite a different feel as well. And I'm really enjoying this because there's 4 corridors with a central courtyard, and all the sunlight is coming through, peeking between the columns, which means that this whole area is very light, very airy. And actually, even though thousands of people come to visit here every day, it doesn't feel crowded. It's nice and peaceful to walk around. So you might not have guessed, but I'm actually still inside the temple, because between 12:30 and 1:30 every day they serve over 200 people a free and delicious meal like this one. And this is when the prasad, or holy food gift from God, is distributed. And it's all entirely vegetarian, if not vegan. It is quite simple food, but it's so flavoursome. Loads of different variety as well. And I do enjoy eating like this. There's people of all ages and different religions eating together. It's very community feel. Really tasty. Very healthy as well. So I've been allowed to come onto the roof of the temple, which is a big privilege. And of course the temple has actually been gradually built over nearly 800 years, which means you can see the difference in the architecture all around. This gopuram behind me is different to this one, for example. And over the centuries, all of the kings would have wanted to contribute to the temple themselves. And as well as this being partly a religious obligation, it will also have brought pride and fame to their name over the generations. Just been inside the inner sanctum of the temple, and now I've come out here to see the kunds. These are deep wells. There's 22 of them filled with holy water, and as you can see, the pilgrims have come here. First of all, they've bathed by the water, and then they come here to bathe before changing their clothes. And you're not actually obliged to come and do this, but it is very holy to come here and purify the body. For a lot of people, of course, the highlight of their time in Rameshwaram is the beautiful Rameshwaram Temple. But also my time here has shown me that this place has a lot to offer for lots of different type of travellers, as well as being a wonderful pilgrimage destination. And this is unfortunately the end of my wonderful time in Tamil Nadu. And I spent nearly a month here, and it's just highlighted how much this state has to offer and how diverse it is. There's something for everybody, to be honest, from the gorgeous hill stations with the rolling tea plantations. It's a haven for foodies. It's got a wonderful, beautiful coastline, so much history, and of course it's a fantastically spiritual place as well. I have enjoyed my time in Tamil Nadu immensely, and I hope that you guys have also enjoyed travelling with Alex.